Rig Veda is the oldest Veda pronounced by the UNESCO as the first available text for the humanity. Whenever there is a decay of dharma and adharma, which is just nothing but violence, religious terrorism, wars, unbridled consumerism, environmental destruction, climate change, and so forth, happens at the societal level, when adharma happens at the societal level, we shall have to become Krishna. Karma Kand emphasizes, is again very important, Karma Kand emphasizes that karma will change the karta, but Gyan Kand emphasizes and insists that when karta is transformed, karma too will transform. Bharat must become Bharat, a Dharmic Rashtra, not in the sense of religion, through the infrastructure of Dharmic education, Sanatani economics, and self-propelling journey of Dharmic governance. Bharat's national dharma is Adhyatma, not religion. Religion looks for God, Adhyatma searches for truth. My namaskar to all. Since we are here to understand the core principles or the elements of a living civilization in the context of my book, Unraveling Sanatana Bharat, perhaps nothing can be a better demonstration of this than what is really offered by Bharat. And Bharat, as you know, has been a geographical and cultural identity predating all religions since time immemorial. Our book, Unraveling Sanatana Bharat, would therefore like to highlight some of these elements. The first element. Our Vedic Rishis, who were the earliest humans on earth to discover the unifying and the harmonizing principle from the simplest movements of the nature and cosmos to the subtlest movements of consciousness within themselves, laid the foundations of Bharatvarsh and its Sanatana Dharma. They discover a subtler truth or reality that was the very fabric of the universe, including themselves. They call this truth Sat, referred to as Tad Ekam, which means that one, referring to the ultimate non-dual reality, absolute truth, or the singular source of all existence mentioned in the Rig Veda. It signifies an unmanifested consciousness behind all creation, often translated as the one without a second, or Brahma. The Rishis' immortalized knowledge body came to be called as Ved, which means knowledge. The second element. Ved, created thousands of years ago, do not owe their authority to anybody. They themselves the authority, being eternal. They were never written, never created. They've existed throughout time, just as the creation is infinite and eternal, without beginning and without end. And this knowledge, called Shruti, was revealed to the Rishis. The Shruti consists of the Chaturvedali, the four Ved, Rig Veda, Sam Veda, Yajur Veda, and the Atharva Veda. Rig Veda is the oldest Veda pronounced by the UNESCO as the first available text for the humanity. Vedas have four parts. First, mantra or samhita, which are hymnal. Second, Brahma, which are commentaries on rituals, commentaries on ceremonies and sacrifices. These two parts are actually called as Karma Kand. Third, the Aryanak, which are forest teachings. And fourth, the Upanishads, which are Darshanic discussions. The last two parts are called Gyan Kand. The third element. Darshan suggests vision of truth or reality and has a lived and experientially verified basis, unlike philosophy. The fourth element. Upanishads have no place for gods or rituals. The Upanishads themselves are called Vedant. The term Vedant literally means the end of the Ved, but in a deeper sense, it is actually the essence of the Ved. But its focus has always been liberation from bondage, ignorance, and avidya. The fifth element. Upanishads are the profoundest texts in the human history, and Sanatana Dharma is Vedantic. Here, Sanatan means everlasting, and Dharma is that which is worthy of doing. Religion has never been Bharat's idea or legacy, because the mind clouded by fear or belief is incapable of any kind of understanding, any realization of what truth is. It is only in freedom that one can find out what is true, what is God, not through any belief. Belief is denial of all truth. Belief hinders truth. To believe in God is not to find God. All beliefs with labyrinth of ego, or as we call ahankar, at the center are heavily challenged by Vedanta. The sixth element, Sanatana Dharma calls for Atma Avalokan, the introspection, leading to Atma Gyan. Shruti says, Bodho Aham, I am consciousness. A key understanding in Advaita non-dual Vedanta that emphasizes the oneness of the individual self, the Atma with the ultimate reality, which is Brahma. From this bodh, what proceeds is liberation from bondage, ignorance, and maya and avidya. Mukti, which is liberation, is nothing but cutting through this maya, which means challenging all belief systems. Once awakened, one will take care of his responsibilities, which is what dharma is. Dharma stresses an enlightened pluralism that allows the existence of many paths with the divine self within, which is Atma. Atma is pure consciousness or witness consciousness, ceases to beyond identification with the phenomena. Atma is where ahankar ceases to exist. Atma is where ahankar ceases to exist, which is necessary to obtain moksha or liberation. This self-knowledge or Atma Gyan is what is supremely significant in Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is therefore not for rituals, not for classes, not for hierarchies, not for untouchability, and not for any addiction. The seventh element, Sanatana Dharma being Adhyatmic, is a way of being rather than a way of life. The entire spiritual journey is ascending to the highest. Advaita, the pathless path, is the very end of Sanatan journey. The eighth element, who can be called a Sanatani? Anybody who inquires into the ego self via self-observation with the intention to rid oneself of all false beliefs, identities, and associations. The ninth element, Sanatan Darshan is not monastic, but is based on oneness of being in and through all differentiations and diversities, where none of the differentiation and diversity is actually lost in the oneness. It can be summed up in a single Rig Veda phrase, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. Truth is one, the wise call it differently. This reality is addressed as Brahma or Atma or Tad Ekam. This is regarded as Vedant's highest wisdom in Sanatana Dharma. The 10th element, to be a Sanatana Dharmi, one has to be Adhyatmic. To be Adhyatmic is to be living in the consciousness of the Atma, for the Atma, in the Atma, by the Atma. This Atma is the infinite interiority of consciousness. To know our own within, our own depths, is to know ourselves as one Atma, the one cosmic self, and to know one cosmic self is to know Brahma. In the Sanatan worldview, Atma is not just the immortal and the immutable consciousness in all beings. It is the only consciousness. Tad Ekam. Therefore, the Rishis insist that all being is Atma, one universal consciousness in spite of all external appearances. The 11th element, Atma Gyan, or the realization of the Atma, is the true Vedanta. The knowledge of the Atma is also knowledge of Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. He who attains the Atma Gyan is a Gyani, a knower of Brahma, and therefore liberated from all ignorance and bondages and attains to moksha or the liberation. But moksha is not liberation from the endless cycles of birth or rebirth, but liberation from avidya or spiritual ignorance and suffering or dukh, which is the existential angst of not knowing who, what, or why we are that accompanies avidya. The 12th element, Sanatana Dharma is Vedantic in conception, we've understood, and yogic in practice. Yoga must be practiced and realized. Yoga means to know the union of existence by experience. Yoga is a technology for transformation. It is about determining who we are, anything by which the best and the highest in life can be attained is yoga. It is the spiritualization of life. The next element, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, is a song of consciousness that provides precise formulations of Sanatana Dharma. Whenever there is a decay of dharma and adharma, which is nothing but violence, religious terrorism, wars, unbridled consumerism, environmental destruction, climate change, and so forth, happens at the societal level, when adharma happens at the societal level, we shall have to become Krishna. We shall have to become Sri Krishna within us and take responsibility to re-establish the principles of dharma. Your authority only extends to the performance of action. Obtaining or not obtaining the truth is never within your authority. Therefore, do not be the one who performs action with the motive in the mind that the particular fruit should be obtained. Or nor do you also insist on non or not performing action. On another plane, time, and this is very important, on another plane, time can only be understood in the past tense, and the future only a figment of imagination, not independent of the past. It is therefore necessary to seek freedom from the past and from time. We shall then exist in the present, which is Atma Gyan. On yet another plane, understanding death lets us live, and we can only understand death when we are able to see life clearly. Karma Kand emphasizes, it's again very important, Karma Kand emphasizes that karma will change the karta, but Gyan Kand emphasizes and insists that when karta is transformed, karma too will transform. Let us understand what Sri Krishna is saying here in Bhagavad Gita. He's saying, drop all the falseness in the name of dharma and come to me. I am dharma itself. Who's Sri Krishna? Let's understand. Sri Krishna is Brahm. Sri Krishna is truth. Our responsibility is to move towards truth, which is to move towards continuous and gradual liberation from our limits and our bondages, which is what is called as dharmikta or jivan mukti, which is liberation. The core of dharmikta is freedom from limit, truth without boundaries. The dharmic texts, temples, customs, and traditions are all appendages, may just be helpful at particular point of time in our journey. The next element is Ashtavakra Gita. which has Advaita Vedant's undiluted exposition. It is a straight dialogue with Raja Janak, where Muni Ashtavakra is telling him, when you are the witness consciousness, there is no question of believing or not believing in God. One is neither theist nor an atheist. You are the one you are exploring. There is neither distance nor exploration. When you are searching for God, you are away from self. Atma, when you realize the self, the search of God ceases, for God is consciousness. When God is not an outside entity, prayers become silent and turn into gratitude. There is no desire to get the God, since it was never lost. Atma Gyan is liberation. All the bondages, attractions, and the relations are at the level of the body and the mind. And you're not the body, you're not the mind, you're the witness consciousness. Ahankar is the source of all dukh, which is what we saw before. It is the glue which makes you as the karta, what Sri Krishna is talking about, which keeps you in bondage. All the elements talked about thus far, and many more, have symbiotic relationship with Bharat, which has had four major dharmic traditions evolved in this land, namely Sanatan, Buddha, Jain, and Sikhi. These dharma guide us towards spiritual progress and attainment of the ultimate truth in harmony with time, space, and nature. Bharat, therefore, needs its identity restored. Bharat must become Bharat, a Dharmic Rashtra, not in the sense of religion, through the infrastructure of Dharmic education, Sanatani economics, and self-propelling journey of Dharmic governance. Bharat's national dharma is Adhyatma, not religion. Religion looks for God, Adhyatma searches for truth. It only has questions. Only an Adhyatmic Bharat can be an Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant Bharat. Bharat's Sanatani constructs, as well as its Adhyatmic baseline, offers a paradigm shift to the current world order within and without. This is the revolutionary potential and the core principles of living civilization that they offer to the world, and our book, Unraveling Sanatana Bharat, puts this sharply in focus. Namaskar. Thank you. Jai Bharat.